today for this 37th episode of DALLAESTHETICS. Today I am interviewing Jordan Roth, co-owner of Road to Art, as well as the president of the MAC. So thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, you bet.
I'm sure he is a familiar face to anyone who watches this podcast. So let's kind of backtrack and talk about your youth and how, because I know your youth plays into what you do today. So let's talk about growing up, and especially growing up with your mom.
Yeah. Well, okay. So my mother was an art dealer from the time that I was a little kid. I remember first being aware of that when they would bring home cookies and biscuits and like extra wine. And there would be all these cookies around the house, and it was like from the openings.
Okay.
And then I remembered crawling around on the floor in one of the galleries, and they had my mom had a show of these figurative nudes, and so I remembered seeing a lot of skin, and over time, artists would come in from out of town and stay with us for a month at a time, and do their work, and then have a show, and our school would do field trips at the gallery, and my mom would do a little workshop or something like that, and that was life growing up. So I kind of, in the back of my mind, thought, well, I could maybe work in an art gallery, as I was growing up. And that idea altered, here and there. Like maybe it was going to be a restaurant that had art or a hotel that had art. When I got a hotel and restaurant management degree, I was thinking that. And then later on, I got a job doing some work in tech, decided I was just not into that. And, well, it was time to open a gallery, I thought. My mom said, no, we're not ready for that yet. You need to work in an art gallery. Okay. So I worked at a couple galleries first, and then we debuted the gallery as an alternative art fair in 2010. Okay. And then it just rolled quickly from there.
That's great. So let's talk about kind of the beginnings of Road to Art and what the scene was like for you, since I know pop-ups are a reoccurring thing for Road to Art. So let's talk about what a pop-up gallery is and stories about past pop-ups, I guess.
Yeah, so we started as this alternative art fair, and it was during Dallas Art Fair's second year. Okay. And as a satellite to that satellite fair, we opened a pop-up gallery. And it was next door to Neiman Marcus on Main Street, which is now part of the Jewel Hotel. Yeah. And we called it Sideshow. Okay. And so we had heard of pop-ups. They were happening around New York, and there was one in a space on McKinney for a little while that we ended up later having as our own pop-up. So the idea isn't completely new, but it was fairly new to Dallas. And it's when you find a space and it's being used for something else or not being used at all, and you turn it into an art gallery, usually for a limited amount of time. And we've done that several times over the years, at one point having 3 pop-ups at once. We had 2 downtown and 1 on McKinney Avenue. Wow. And then at one point, we had those 3, as well as a mansion that we were staging with art, and we had ancillary shows at hotels.
Okay, that sounds so chaotic.
So chaotic.
I mean, it's a great way. It's so great for your artists and just the Dallas community, because your programming's nonstop. I mean, right now we have the pop-up, the Cedars Gallery, as well as the Magnolia. So we're always having like 3 or 4 shows at a time, which I think is great.
It's amazing. It's a challenge. It's always been a challenge, but we started that way, and we were able to kind of get going with multiple shows at once, and we just haven't slowed down. Yeah. So, it's great for the artists because we can still have relationships with a lot of artists and still give them a show every 18 months or whenever they're ready for it.
Yeah, for sure. And then how do you feel like, since your gallery has grown so much in the years, I mean, you started back in 2010 and it's 2019, so how do you think your gallery plays into the landscape for art galleries in Dallas, or just the art world in general?
Well, so we're part of CAD, and that CAD is the Contemporary Art Dealers of Dallas. And I find, like, perspective there, you've got a small group of galleries in CAD, and each one has, like, its own distinct personality.
For sure.
And we certainly have ours. And I think a place that we've carved out, well, one, I think we've made the summer show an essential thing for most galleries now in Dallas. And when we started out, we were, you know, one of the only galleries open during the summer, much less having big shows.
Yeah.
So we've kind of helped create another season for art. Also, we like to do a lot of first shows for people. So whether it's at the Magnolia or sometimes even at the main gallery, something that we've always enjoyed doing, my mom has been doing since she had her gallery, is having people's first shows. Yeah. So that's an exciting thing to be able to do, to be able to have someone's first show while also having artists doing solo shows at museums. So it's a wide range of artists. We've been showing women artists since the beginning, and more. Our roster has, I think, always been more heavily tilted towards women artists.
Yeah, and not just women artists, but minority artists. And it's just such a diverse roster of artists. And I think that's really special, since now you see a lot of companies and a lot of, like, museums and galleries who are just now showing women because it's like the in thing and the proper thing to do. But I think it just came out so naturally with you guys from the very beginning, just having this roster filled with diversity. And that's what drew me to the gallery in the first place. And I think that's very exciting and very great.
It is. I mean, we aim to bring all types of viewpoints to the gallery. We want to be a gallery for all people. And in order for that to happen, you've got to present stories from all sorts of backgrounds.
Absolutely.
And so that's something we've always been happy to do, and we'll continue to do.
Yeah. And so back to talking about summer shows, I mean, your summer show is Chaos, and it's our 7th edition doing it.
Yeah.
So let's talk about, like, how that first started and what drew you to the artists that you picked this year, because I know it's super colorful compared to years before.
Yeah, so Chaos kind of came about as a way to have, like, a really immersive, community-oriented summer show. And we'd always had so many artists come visit the gallery and, you know, asking, well, how do I get a show? Or, you know, things like that. Or, oh, I wish I showed here, you know. And we thought, what an opportunity to invite artists that maybe we're not going to represent or might be with another gallery and just want to show with our artists, or want to do something different, do an experimental piece, work small when they usually work big. And so it just made sense it would be called Chaos, because on, I believe, our first show, we had about 70 artists.
Okay, and now that's doubled, at least.
It's doubled, yeah. We've got 150 artists.
Yeah.
And one of the things that we did from the very beginning with Chaos was invite the artists and give them a size limitation, but also ask them to put in between 2 and 4 works.
Okay.
And that's kind of a wild card.
Yeah.
Because we don't know how many pieces will be there until they get here. Yeah. And I don't know why that's something that I've always kind of insisted on. My mom has been like, let's just, you know, maybe give them a number. But then I think she enjoys that too.
Yeah.
And so it's nice when there are at least 2, because, you know, you can have some type of a story there. And it's fun when they bring 4, you know. It's evolved to the point where we have a lot of artists from outside of Dallas now in the show. we search throughout the year for artists that'll be in Chaos. And so over the course of a year, we're looking at Instagram and going to juried shows and things like that. And when we see somebody that could be a fit, you know, we write their names down and start. We start the invitation process in April.
And I think also for visitors who come to the gallery, it's a great exhibition to start off for newcomers because, one, we have all our represented artists showing work in a much smaller scale, and sometimes they're experimenting with new materials and whatnot. And then it's just because I have a lot of people asking, like, what type of art does Roti show? And I'm just like, come to Chaos. Like, Chaos is a great beginning for you to understand what we do. And so.
Oh, completely. And small works are like, there's something perfect about them because when you're attracted to a small painting, the closer you get to it, it just gets better. And, you know, you can afford it.
Yeah.
And you get to, you know, imagine different artists together and groupings. Groupings are so much fun.
Yeah.
And it's definitely the best opportunity to check out the artists there. And the you know, the thing is, you like this small painting, they all work big.
Yeah.
So,
absolutely.
you know, it's a great time to have conversations about what else is in the artist's body of work.
And so this show's ending on the 14th, correct? And then we have a couple of events going along with that.
We do,
so
yeah.
Can you elaborate?
Sure. Beginning this weekend, we've got some events. On Friday and Saturday, Ji-Young Moore will be doing a jewelry trunk show. She does like small painted works and beaded works that she makes into jewelry. And then on Saturday, we're doing the White Rock Zine Machine. Sunday, excuse me. On Sunday, we're doing the Zine Machine readings. And Lisa Huffaker was here a couple weeks ago, and we talked about the Zine Machine. And the White Rock Zine Machine has 12 different edition zines by 8 artists. And most of them will be here at the gallery talking about the work and, you know, what inspired them. And it'll be quite an event. And then on Tuesday, we're doing probably the first comedy show in an art gallery, at least in Texas, that I can imagine. You know, an art show at a gallery, yeah, seriously, we're doing that. I had to say that. But Chaos Comedy is Tuesday night, beginning at 8. The show starts at 8. Doors open at 7. We invite people to come in early, and I'm super excited about that.
Sure, it's just going to be such a blast. And then just to end things off, what are the upcoming events at the gallery other than after Chaos?
Yeah, well, I will say that we're going to extend Chaos one day to the 15th. So on Sunday, we'll have like beer and mimosas and stuff like that. And then people can take their art home that day if they'd like. Coming up after Chaos, we have Raymel Cornelius show Supernature. And then TJ Griffin will be in the small gallery. Then after that, we have Uni Lee presenting new works in the big gallery, and Dee Shapiro, who's 83 and in New York, has a solo show in New York and another in Los Angeles at the same time.
Wow.
And they'll be coming in August, November.
That's so great.
Yeah, and then we'll do another group show to end out the season, and also
it's a great
programming.
Time to buy gifts for the
holidays.
Of course,
yeah. And continuous programming at the Magnolia, and then another show at the pop-up.
Busy as always.
Busy as always.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, and thank you to everyone who tuned in. But
yeah, I'm sitting in a different spot. It's really weird, but it's been fun.
Yeah,
thank you, Zhaira.
For sure, of course.
That's it.
Yeah. Cool.